Miscreants and mollifiers. The anonymous librarian is proud to present an extract from Captives Courageous, South African Prisoners of War, World War II, by Maxwell Lee. Paul Brickhill has recorded that when Bushell expressed concerns about the poor chances that many escapers would have out in the snow once they left the camp, they said, "Look, it's an operational war. It isn't just a question of getting a few people home. It's just as important to mess the goons about. Most of the boys will be caught anyway. But if we get a good team out, there'll be a flap all over Germany and we'll have done something useful. More useful than getting a few back home." He could not foresee that the Nazis would flout the provisions of the Geneva Convention and that the boys of whom he spoke would be murdered. Ladies and gentlemen, miscreants, mollifiers, I am the anonymous librarian. You can call me Al. And welcome to the show, to another weekly reading update. And let's get straight into it. Who wants to argue about anything else? Let's go as always first to the comics and manga. I finished Vinland Saga. Not a lot more to add in what I already said last week, except for this last part especially delves a lot into PTSD. And the way it does it is fascinating, and the art he uses is insane and just mesmerizing and quite horrific. Quite horrific as well. Vinland Saga. Awesome. As always, Makoto Yukamura crushes it. And I had like a few days, I had 3 days left in the month of July. And I don't just want to start immediately with my August read. I thought, let me use this as a time to take some of the shorter comics I have. And there were some I was just too excited to get to. Daniel Ichu's Tales of the Orionaut. I know how to say this now. That word, that crazy word there. I do know. It's Onirionaut. That's how you say it. Onirionaut. O, Nero, like the old Roman emperor, and then naut, like in an astronaut, the odd. Onirionaut. So I actually read this one 1 day, and then the reading. There's basically no works in. And then this one, the second volume. There's 20 years between when this one was done and when this one was done. So this one still feels a little bit scattered around, and there's some stuff in here. I wonder if it's still canon amongst the thing, but it probably is. But it's like wild and weird. But it's so beautiful, the concepts, and I mean, it's like for your interpretations because he doesn't put any words in it. It's just the images, and you follow along the story. Some really cool ones. But if this one is nice and cool and awesome, then the second volume is amazing. And you can feel that this was done after stuff like The Beach Walker and Adventures of the Black Cat, when he was already more into this world. And the things that you kind of, and how this one especially ties into a lot of, although this one does have some tie-ins into our bigger books, the bigger comics in it, the main comics. This one definitely has way more, and it does give a lot more ideas on the stuff that go on. Just look at that, and the way we get to that one, and the story, fantastic. What was the background here? Look at this one. So look how awesome this looks. Insane, man. This guy's art. Daniel Ichu, amazing. Then I actually pick up something else by Daniel Ichu as well. Another comic work, The Souvenir by Jason Gallant. It's based on an old folktale at a Cape colony. A Cape, or from the Cape of South Africa. The art in here, this is just some. I just want to look at that art, man. The amount that's put into this and how it works in more folklore from around the world into this and make it way more fascinating and interesting. Just and amazing. I really love this. This is one of those special pieces of art. And yeah, a comic can sometimes just hit perfect. This one, amazing. Yeah, unbelievable. No, Daniel Igu is once in a lifetime type of artist. I love this guy. He is my favorite illustrator out there right now. But then August started, so I started with my first actual comic for August, and that is 100 Bullets, Book 2. I've only read the first chapter so far, so that's the only thing I had time for. Whoa. The first chapter in this, I think, is one of my favorite part, and I love book one. But the first chapter in this is so good, and it's insane, and how it sets up the story, and just picks up from where we've been, and just sets up the story for this book, and like in the madness, and you're still like, what is actually going on here? They really taking the time peeling away the layers, making you like wondering what the hell. But it's fascinating. You can't wait. Can't wait. I think I will still be reading this for most of the week and probably a little bit of next week. So I'm going to be talking about that again next week. Happy days. And then, of course, it's time for the non-fiction. And I read from it at the beginning. I'm still reading Captives Courageous by Maxwell Lee. South African Prisoners of War, World War II. I've gotten more from where they were in the camp, stories about the camps to now it's stories about escapees and trying to escape and being recaptured and stuff, and some of the atrocities that I was mentioning in the part I read. But it's just great stories and fascinating, and the thing people went through and during, and it's interesting that especially in Italy, how much they were helped by the locals, the peasants. They still call them peasants. I assume they were actually peasants. I don't know. Were they peasants? That's what they call them in the book. But the peasants, the poor working people in the villages and stuff, helping these escapees through and hiding them and stuff. And how it's just amazing the stories that come from it and captivating. I am pretty decently going. Yeah, I think 70 pages left. So I think I'll still spend most of the week reading on this. But yeah, awesome. Now let's move on to this is a new category we just call Bagel the Fiction category. We're pushing the mundane and the science and fantasy into one. I finished Pet Cemetery by Stephen King. And yeah, it finally turned into horror. It changed from a family drama into horror. Finally. Great book. Amazing. The second half of this book, and I was already last week in it, it's just something else. And in that last, not even a third of the book, the last quarter of the book, sure, there's some moments here, some new stuff. Like I'm like, yeah, that's printed into my brain. That's printed in my. That's vivid and scary, uncomfortable. I don't want to dream about that stuff. I haven't so far. I hope I never do. Well done, Mr. King. That's amazing. After that, I picked up and finished Solo Leveling Volume 5. Not a surprise. This is a light novel. You fly through them. They're so easy to read. I read most of it yesterday on the 1st of August, but I'm gonna let this count since I started it in July. I let it count for July, and I finished it on the 1st of August. So what do you want? It's not bad. It's perfect. So this was the first full volume that I knew nothing what was gonna happen because we're way past where the anime ended. It ended on like a cliffhanger. The last one. It resolved it fast, but not too fast, and very interesting. Very graphic and it also shows how horrific this situation really is. This book really delves into how bad the situation gets when it gets out of control and the dangers to the world. Man, there's a fight scene and sequence in here that's I can't wait to see when the anime do it because it's insane. And then there's the stuff that it leads to just gets even more insane. And then some of the events in here is just whoa. Yeah, now this thing is going on full cylinders. It's not slowing down. It's just bashing down the world. You start to learn a bit more, and it's like, oh, I'm gonna find something out now. But the little answers you get feels more like it's not really, it doesn't even feel like, it's more like, wait a minute, what is actually going on here? It makes way more questions. The snippets of flashes of answers just make way more questions. And then, man, there's a part of me that just wants to pick up the other ones and just go. And of course, we end on another big cliffhanger. And especially and this is a big cliffhanger compared to what we're gonna see. It's like there's gonna be a major fight at the beginning of Solo Leveling Volume 6. I really had fun reading this. This was my most fun one so far of the lot. So it is getting better and better. And the writing is also getting better and better. You can see that like Qigong got more comfortable with what he was writing. So that's actually it. That's everything I read. So this week I will start with The Hunchback of Notre Dame, The Legend of Notre Dame of Paris, I think is the original name, by Mr. Victor Hugo. Can't wait to get into it. I've read the British version completely, and I've read this version, not this book, but most of it when I was in high school. So now I want to read a full thing. Some really juicy stuff in here. So that's it. That's all I have. What have you been reading? Let me know. How's your reading going? Mine went pretty good this week. I'll say that, pretty good. You can tell I'm slowing down with the non-fiction. I'm focusing really on the fiction now. And I think I'm going to do that for the next while. So my non-fiction books won't be I'll rarely be reading 2 a month anymore, unless they're very short. And because I'm planning soon enough, I'll start bringing in short stories again, so that like a bigger mix. Because I've really, last year some of my favorite stuff to read was short stories, and I haven't read one short story collection or even novella collection this year, and that is disappointing. That's my fault. I'll own that mistake. But what have you been reading? What have you been doing? If you let me know. Tell me if there's something. Tell me if there's. Give me advice. Who here has read the unabridged version of The Hunchback of Notre Dame, and you think I'm being a glutton for punishment? Because I remember there's a lot of just telling you what Paris looks like. I am the anonymous librarian. You can call me Al, but you don't have to call me Al. But you know what? You can leave a comment. You can like. You can subscribe. Actually, you know what? You should. You should do both of those things. And put on the notifications. And also share it with the whole world. The whole world needs to know. The whole world needs to get in on this. I mean, I am really the guru for the universe. That is who I am. The guru for the whole universe. Boom, 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 boom. Hey, I want to go. I want to go read. It's my Sunday. Let me read. Bye. Bye. Bye.